Well, parts of the U.S. are bracing for the most severe weather threat of the spring season so far. On Friday, a powerful storm cell unleashed lightning and hail in southwest Texas. Officials have issued tornado watches across much of the southeastern U.S., with more storms expected to continue throughout the week. Jeff Berardelli joins me now, CBS News meteorologist and climate change expert. So, Jeff, tell us a little bit more about the severe weather threat that's expected this weekend. What are the areas that you're watching?
It's Texas today, and then it's the deep south tomorrow. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and northern Florida. Those are the primary locations. But this is a particularly dangerous severe weather outbreak. It's a 4 on a scale of 1 to 5. And, it's the kind of severe weather outbreak that only happens maybe a handful of times a season. And it's happening on Easter Sunday. So the timing is really bad. You can see the hour by hour later today, Dallas, Shreveport, maybe as far south as Houston. Then another round develops overnight tonight, Austin, Waco, quickly accelerates east into Louisiana, eventually Mississippi, Alabama, Jackson, Birmingham under the gun. Discrete supercell rotating thunderstorms. Another line develops near Memphis later in the evening. That will move east through Nashville and other parts of the southeast as well. So you can see this kind of in motion again. And you'll notice the threat area is Texas today. But watch as we head into tomorrow, that threat area now is in red, and that's across Alexandria, Jackson, Meridian, Birmingham, Huntsville, Tupelo, eventually in Atlanta later in the day. And then it all moves north into the Ohio Valley, Memphis, Nashville, Kentucky. And by the way, on Monday, that's going to hit the eastern seaboard from New York City and the Pocono South. Now, in the southeast, just be aware, these are going to be rotating supercell thunderstorms. They could be long-lasting, and we may see some long-track tornadoes. We're talking strong tornadoes with winds 150 miles an hour or more. So it poses a very dangerous situation during the day tomorrow and tomorrow evening in the south especially.
And Jeff, why is this threat expected to be so severe?
It's because we have a very strong jet stream. So you probably heard about this. We've had this storm spinning around Southern California for about 5 or 6 days. It's been raining every day. Well, that storm has finally decided to leave Southern California, and it's ejecting east. And as it ejects east, it's invigorating a strong subtropical jet stream coming out of places like Mexico and the Pacific Ocean right through the heart of Texas. And by tomorrow, that's going to be right across the southeast. So in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, winds are about 100, 150 miles an hour. At the surface, the Gulf of Mexico is way above normal, 4 to 8 degrees above normal. That supplies high octane fuel, almost like steroids for storms. That's why a combination of this warmth, this humidity, and these strong winds in the atmosphere are going to give us a big severe weather threat tomorrow.
What about those people, Jeff, in mobile homes? What should
Yeah.
they do if they're in the path of a tornado like this?
So I've been thinking a lot about this. Tomorrow, there's the possibility that some folks may be asked to evacuate their mobile homes. If they don't have a solid structure home, you may be asked to evacuate. But will you want to evacuate and get into close proximity with other people, being that we're dealing with the coronavirus right now? Some people may not want to do it. Officials are asking that you consider doing it because the immediate threat from a tornado with winds of 150 miles an hour is certainly, theoretically at least, a much bigger threat than coronavirus would be. With that said, it is up to you to decide that, but you should have a plan in place today. Find out if your community is opening shelters. If they are, figure out if you're willing to and want to go there. If you do, they're asking that you bring PPE, your own mask, your own gloves. Again, this is a decision that you will have to make, and it's not an easy decision to make. But if you think you're in harm's way from a tornado, that could be the more dangerous danger, if you will.
What's interesting, Jeff, this storm oddly has a snowy side. How much are we expecting would fall here? And how is this even possible?
Yeah, well, it's possible. It happens in the middle of April. I mean, even in New York City, back in 1982, we had about a foot of snow, I think the first week of April or so. The heaviest snow is going to be from places like Wyoming through the upper Midwest and northern plain states, so South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minneapolis could see 5 to 10 inches of snow, and eventually that'll move into Wisconsin and Marquette, Michigan. We could see a foot and a half of snow, wind gusts to 45 miles an hour, and blizzard conditions possible. So this is a bombing bombogenesis bomb cyclone that they talk about, and it's going to be a big deal up north and down south as well.
Grateful you're keeping an eye on all of it. Jeff Baradelli, thank you
Watching
very
it.
much for joining us.
You're welcome.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says all public schools will remain closed until September. The mayor says the decision was made out of an abundance of caution for teachers, staff, and the 1.1 million students in the public school system. Remote learning will continue. The mayor is promising tablets for all children who need them before the end of the month. Public schools in the city have been closed since March 16th. Well, 2 more crew members aboard the USNS Mercy have tested positive for coronavirus. 3 crew members in total have now contracted the virus on the Navy hospital ship. Officials say that they have been isolated off ship. The Mercy arrived in the port of Los Angeles late last month to relieve local hospitals slammed with coronavirus cases. The 1,000-bed ship is being used to treat those without COVID-19. Navy officials say that the cases will not affect the ship's ability to take in patients. A homeless shelter in San Francisco is being converted to a medical facility after dozens of people there tested positive for coronavirus. Wilson Walker from our San Francisco station, KPIX, has the details.
An outbreak has occurred in MSC South, one of our shelters. 70 people, 68 members of the shelter, as well as 2 staff members who have tested positive for COVID-19.
The largest shelter in San Francisco is now functioning as a ward for the infected, with medical staff on hand in case anyone gets seriously ill.
Many of them have chronic health conditions and are vulnerable to getting very sick or even dying from coronavirus.
The announcement of the outbreak comes after a weeks-long dispute over how to best shelter the city's homeless.
We need to move people into hotels now. It is absolutely inevitable that we're going to have outbreaks in all the shelters. It's impossible not to.
It was inevitable. It was also preventable. A month ago, I was yelling and screaming and demanding of them to move these people out of that environment.
Supervisor Matt Haney warns the outbreak has implications beyond the shelter.
If you think this is just about unhoused or homeless people, you've got it wrong. People who are unhoused and homeless interact regularly with people who are not. And the potential for this to spread from large crowded shelters to the street, to people who are housed, to impact people who are close to you and me and who we know is huge.
That possibility now has the city doing detective work to figure out what kind of spread the outbreak might be causing beyond shelter doors.
This is a 24-hour, round-the-clock operation, and the situation and numbers are changing.
More than half of the 67 patients in an Augusta, Georgia health and rehab center have tested positive for coronavirus. The employees have tested positive as well. Officials are now stepping in to help the center. And Brady Trapnell from our Augusta affiliate WRDW reports on the response from families.
It's an outbreak in one of the worst places possible. 74 people facing COVID-19.
Yes, I'm scared, because that's my mother.
Clifton Bennon's mother has lived in Windermere since March. He's been calling since he heard the news.
Yeah, that's like everybody's families right there. Y'all not telling nobody nothing.
And he hasn't heard from his mother either. He tried to get her a cell phone, and he says Windermere said no. Sava Senior Care owns the facility, and also Azalea Health and Rehab. That's where James Randall works, but he's immunocompromised.
Work has tried to work around it. They've told me they weren't going to pay me, so, if I want money, I need to come in. And I said it's not about the money, it's about my health.
So he's taking legal action against Sava Senior Care. He says the truth matters more than his job. Meanwhile, the Department of Public Health is trying to help those affected, and Augusta EMA will be there to offer any equipment or supplies that are needed.
This is certainly a time to pull together and not be pulled apart. The healthcare community is going to do everything that they can in order to respond and make sure that their loved ones are in the best care and condition as possible.
Now, that's all they can do, as many families still wait to hear if their loved one is sick. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Trapnell on your side.
At least 17 residents at the home did test negative, and our affiliate WRDW reached out to the company who owns the Windermere. They say that they're doing everything they can to protect the residents and, quote, We are in the process of contacting the resident representation of every resident in our center to help keep informed of their loved ones' conditions as it evolves. We will continue to update family members in the coming days as new information becomes available or as circumstances change. Well, Spain is reporting its lowest daily coronavirus death toll in nearly 3 weeks. Officials say 510 people died from the virus between Friday and Saturday. That's down from a national high of 950 deaths reported on April 2nd. Spain has recorded more than 161,000 cases of COVID-19, making it the hardest hit place in Europe. The country has been in a month-long lockdown, and officials say that they will ease certain restrictions. Factory and construction workers will be allowed to return to work on Monday. All other activities, except going out for food and medicine, will remain prohibited. India is extending its nationwide lockdown to stop the spread of coronavirus. The Prime Minister announced by video conference that the lockdown would continue. He did not say how long the extension would last. The decision comes despite concerns in the country that the shutdown has put millions of people out of work and forced migrant workers from cities to travel back to their home villages. India has over 7,800 confirmed cases of coronavirus. British and Chinese scientists are beginning to see progress on a joint research project to develop a quick test for the coronavirus, and it could take just 30 minutes to find the results.
Is test the individual whether get infected and still infectious. So if I'm tested positive, that means I got the virus, I can spread the virus, I should go to isolation.
The effort's a collaboration between Oxford University and China. The test uses a solution that turns yellow for a positive result or remains pink for a negative one. Scientists are hoping to make the testing available in places like pharmacies, airports, and even hospitals. Still to come, 2 major tech companies are joining forces in an effort to combat the coronavirus. We'll tell you about that next. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News.
You can watch CBSN 24/7.
We've got an amazing story to share with you.
Let's talk about the latest developments. There's so many levels to this.
We have a CBS News exclusive.
Fires in California. What happens next and how does it all play out?
We are on a mission with NASA.
I understand you have some breaking news. It's not over yet is the bottom line.
This is a massive operation.
It's quite an adventure here at CBSN.
It's been a day.
Wow. That's not normal.